Brian Noble, it's opening day, winning the championship against London. What do you take away from that performance and result?
An early indication that there's no gimmies in the championship. I think London were terrific. They fought really hard, and everybody's been writing different narratives about what teams will and won't do. So we had to roll our sleeves up today, and I was pleased with that side, certainly at half time. And an element of it is we can't just make things up, go out there and expect to win. So I was really pleased with their efforts towards the back end of the game, and the fact that they had to dig themselves out of a hole.
Were you surprised by how London started this game, approached it, and how well they played?
No, not in the slightest. But that's the advantage of knowing rugby league and understanding what teams offer and their systems offer. I know Mike really well, and I knew there'd be a fit team, I knew they'd be organised, I knew they'd find a kicking game, I knew they'd find all the things that will keep them in a game. And we lacked an element of patience, really. If I'm being critical of our team, I think we lacked patience and tried to do things that really weren't on the table, certainly in the first half. And so then having to roll our sleeves up, and is win ugly the right expression? I don't know. It was we had to get to the right end of the field to post the points. But we defended magnificently right throughout the game.
Did you feel, Brian, there might have been certainly in that first half a bit of an element of a hangover from that Castleford game in terms of the energy and what that took out of your side?
Yeah, I think if you look at the fixture, it's a tough fixture, the Castleford game. You're playing a Super League team and you have to invest heavily for the full 80 minutes. And I think there might be a reflection that other teams that played Super League teams in the division maybe struggle similarly. I don't know that one, by the way, but I think you might find that. So maybe an element of Lord Mayor's parade, not so much that we thought we were good or things like that, but the lack of recognition is that there are no gimmies. We've got another similar game next week against Hunslet, home game for Hunslet, so we have to be really ready. And I think we need to help each other recognising what we're good at and what we're not so good at, and improve the things that we're not so good at.
What would you say needs improvement on that performance? Would you say focus is one of those, Brian? Moving away, deviating from the game plan?
No, I don't think anybody lacks focus. I don't think anybody lacks the intention to do well, and that's why it's a good group. I think if they're shown a few pictures tomorrow, they'll go, yeah, you can't take shortcuts. Rugby league, you can't take shortcuts and expect a result. London being the opposite of what we were, you showed clearly that a 6-4 lead at half time on a lot of the things that we were helping them with, but give them full credit. They got to the right end of the field. We made a few mistakes, we got a sin bin, and then we were under pressure. But I thought the boys responded really well in the second half, but had to do.
What was the half-time team talk, Brian? Was it hairdryer treatment or much more relaxed?
Oh gosh, if you're doing hairdryer treatment in round one, you're in trouble. No, Greeny spoke really well and said, listen, we've got to help ourselves a bit more here. We're in a tussle. And let's do the things that we do well to get some ascendancy, i.e. field position, and then let's be smart about how we get over the line. And in the main, we did that. We still made a few errors at their end of the field, but it's better making them at their end of the field, trying to fix some problems, than our own end of the field and giving ourselves problems.
One of the players, when he came on, Sam Hallis, Brian, I thought that really moved that pendulum swing in Bradford's favour. His energy, running out of dummy half, it really did cause London problems.
Yeah, he's a good player, Sam, but we know that, and any time he contributes well. So he's put himself a marker down. I'm sure there'll be others that want to put a marker down as well.
With the competition for places well documented, Brian, it's going to have to take a special performance when given the chance, like Sam, to potentially put himself in those first team thoughts for next week.
But hopefully you have to perform here. You can't just be a name and not perform. And that goes for the whole of the squad, and the whole of the squad knows that. Clearly given a commitment to give opportunity at the start of the year. We've given some opportunity today, and we've got to look at some people. We know what other people can do, so as I said, by round 8, 9, 10 we'll have a clear idea, I think, where the team's going to.
Second half really did put London under a lot of pressure, not just with the forwards running, but the kicking game. And you must be pleased. I think it was 18 points, 3 tries in like a 12-minute spell.
Well, the dam broke, didn't it? There was a lot of pressure. So, but being at the right end of the field enables you to create that pressure. So we capitalised on the pressure. You know, there were a few times when taking 2 wasn't the option; it was play on was the option. And from the players themselves, they made that decision. So that was refreshing. They understood that they needed to get over the chalk, and sometimes you have to win ugly, as I said earlier. And it was one of those days.
No frustrations, not able to add to that strong second half start, Brian, with a scoreless second quarter.
Yeah, of course it's frustrating, but you're disrespecting what the opposition, they rolled their sleeves up and got back and tried to get back into the game and never went away. You've got a good group of young people there, and if he adds to that squad, they'll be challenging at the top end of the table.
You made a decision, obviously Joe Keys could have featured in this one, but you decided against it. Was that just precaution, safety first?
Yes, you know, Joe Keys is in the halves when he wants to play in the halves, and I think it's a long season. It's a 34, 35 game season. It's not about round one. The thing about round one is you want to win, and we got one. I was thrilled with that, you know. But we made a commitment to each other to be better than probably we were today.
Jayden Okunbor believes done a hamstring. What's the latest on that one, Brian?
Yeah, I don't think that's too serious either. I think he's a couple of weeks, hopefully. And we rested Michael Lawrence, as you know. So 3 influential people. We've also got people that haven't played yet that need to, when they get the opportunity, show their value.
Guy Armitage obviously got the nod with Jayden Okunbor injured. First Bradford game.
What a catch.
Waited patiently.
What a catch. Honestly, show it to anybody. I mean, it helps that you're 6'5" like he is, but he got up and he was like 10'6", and when 6'5", what a catch and finish. And he had another one where Gilly might have just got over that he knocked down. So it's won't be surprising everybody. It's a useful tool to have.
Mike's just said he's surprised you didn't target young Jake Fulis more with that kind of sort of height difference, size difference.
Well, we would have liked to, but we didn't get to the end of sets enough. We kept dropping the ball, running to the right and running to the left, and not finishing in the way that we wanted to do. You know, I think we went there twice and got 2 results. Clearly, it's a tactic, but when you get Jayden Okunbor as well on the right hand side and Wonga Blake on the right hand side, we've got some kick options on last play.
How difficult is it, Brian? You, of course, a former player here at Odsal, when you've had all that inclement weather. You know, the games are coming thick and fast. It's boggy, muddy. How much of a factor does that play in, you know, the style that you want to play, you know, with that conviction and that expression versus what you're really able to deliver on a pitch like that?
That's huge. The start of the year is huge for everybody. You know, we got clear weather. It was snowing this morning when I woke where I live up north, and it was cold. You know, there's a biting easterly wind, 2 degrees. It's difficult to play good football, or the football that you want to do. I have to say the ground staff here have done an amazing job, because it's rained non-stop all week here, and for it to be as firm as it was, it might not have looked pleasant throughout, certainly only around the middle of the field, but they've done an unbelievable job. So yeah, it's as much about how you're prepared to kick the ball and chase the ball and then back your defence. And I don't want to sound underwhelming, we defended really, really well again, you know, and it's got to be a stock of what we do.
Mike Eccles, what have you spoke to Mike today, Brian, about what you've just seen? So he's obviously disappointed with that second half, but you know, he can be really encouraged by what he's seen from his new look London side.
Well, everybody looks at the coupon and says, oh, it's going to be Bulls by 40 or 50, and they don't realise the narratives behind each club. You know, they didn't do so well in their pre-season friendly, but they'll have been training predominantly, most of them full-time, so they've still got a full-time element to what he does. And I know that how it works and how he operates and the basic fundamentals of what he wants London to be. And when they get those fundamentals, they're difficult to beat. You know, you'd look how many times they nearly turned the corner in the Super League with a better team. So I wasn't surprised. Maybe some of our players were surprised, but it's also doubled up with the double whammy that they played Castleford Super League team and got over the line. So it's a great, brilliant result for us today. Really, really good result for us today. And yeah, London will beat a lot of teams this year.
Franklin Pelly came on really late. Was there a reason behind that?
Well, it's the balance of the game. You know, we wanted Franklin to come on and make the most impact he possibly could, and he did. You know, 5 minutes into the second half, and then he was the wrecking ball we want him to be for 30 minutes. You know, we have to look at the balance of who goes on and who doesn't go on. You know, Emmanuel Wane came on in the first half, who doesn't like leg speed. You know, Ronan Michaels was on there as well. So having a look at people, and we were predominantly forward heavy on the bench. So it's about opportunity really.
Did everybody come through unscathed?
Yeah, pretty much. A couple of cramps, but no serious injuries.
What did you make of the incident that was put on report just before the final booting?
I didn't. You have to remind me. I'm trying to think out what it was.
I didn't see the incident.
No, I didn't.
For some reason, he called Tom Holmes over, spoke to him, and then crossed his arms. The referee.
Well, I don't know if that's Tom because I'm still unaware.
Well,
I didn't see it unless it was in the very last seconds when I was walking down to the pitch side.
It
was Andrew Dawson with Pilar's a tip tackle and pulled the post.
Ah, was that put on report? Well, his leg didn't go beyond the horizontal, so there'll be nothing in there. Yeah, if it's a Donaldson one, not the Holmes one, then I'm pretty confident there'll be no action there.
Just a quick one, Brian. In terms of getting the win, obviously that's the most important thing. But in terms of getting your first victory at home in the Championship, how important is that to kind of build momentum at home going forward?
Yeah, it's good. I was debating yesterday after the Super League game, you know, the Saint Salford thing about points difference, and if you look at the competition in the Championship this year, not only points are crucial, but points difference is crucial. So even though it's round one, you have to pay attention to that kind of thing. But clearly getting momentum at the start of the year and finding a rhythm is important. We clearly had it in the first half last week, we had it in the second half this week, so we're getting some things right and we're building, and it's important that we all recognise that we're by no means a finished article.